Stanley Cup!
I think it's tough enough to win one. We've done two, so you might as well go for three, right?
Our time, baby, back to back. That's how we do it.
What do you think of this team?
Unbelievable. Nobody can beat us. Back to back years.
It's so much fun to be a part of. The crowd can have an effect on teams. The emotions get turned up.
And then last year, they gave Vezina to somebody else. Number one bullshit. Oh, number one bullshit.
I don't give a shit what people say about Florida hockey, but this is the best hockey town ever.
Here it is for you guys. Enjoy.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans of all ages, welcome to We the Thunder. I am the Stash. I'm taking over as host tonight. That's right. You see me in the pole position in the upper left hand of your screen. As usual, same guys here, though. Shooter right there on my co-pilot, as always. And, of course, we got the Professor Thomas Schooley in the house. Not at the game, unusually at his domicile after a home game. Nonetheless, a thrilling game against the LA Knights coming in. The 3-2 final overtime.
Kings.
What I say? The Kings. What I say?
You said Knights.
Wow, LA Knights. Yeah. The That's it. LA Kings. 3-2 overtime victory. Joseph getting the goal there. Man, what do you guys think about that game?
I thought it was an awesome game. I was watching the whole game, but during the first period, there was no whistles, and the game was going by so fast. I'm like, we're going to start this game, or we're going to start this post game at 8:30. Yeah. And here we are. The game went to overtime and ended right around 9:30. And I was like, that was the fastest game of the season for sure. And we went to overtime. But the both prevailed. They were the better team. LA played good. I was really impressed with LA, how they played. You kind of forget about the guys that they have. I know Doughty's been out, but we haven't seen this team in a while, so you forget how good guys like Anze Kopitar are, which was, by the way, denied in overtime on a breakaway by Vasi. But I thought the Kings are an up-and-coming team. They still got some of these core players from that championship run, and if they can kind of, find the right mix of these younger players, they're going to be a good team. I like what they're doing compared to what they used to do in the past, which was mostly a defensive team. They look a lot more like the Lightning now.
Yep.
Yeah, what I was reading in Thunderbolts during the game, a lot of people were saying that they thought the Lightning looked sluggish, and I didn't think so. I thought the Kings looked quicker than usual. And then also people forget about Quick. I know Edglom talked a lot about him. This was his third start in a row, which he hasn't done all season, and he's basically fighting for the net there. People forget he's a two-time Stanley Cup champion. He's a two-time Vezina finalist. He was the silver medalist for the U.S. in the Olympics. He was a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. So people forget Quick has been around for quite a while. The interesting stat they said going in about Perry has scored the most goals against Quick than any other player in the NHL. And it showed. They seemed like they knew each other pretty well. It also showed Quick is very familiar with Stamkos, and Stamkos had a night that he probably wants to forget, but he did get .499.
It was like he was good and
$8.99.
$8.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, $8.99. It was like he was good and like he was off at the same time.
Yes,
like he was our best player and our worst player at the same time.
Yeah,
but
it was like he was jinxed by a genie or something. Like somebody got a magic lamp after that Toronto game or whatever, and was like, I put a curse on Stamkos. But really, I think you're right. This is a really well coached team, is what I took away from LA. That was one of my biggest notes here, is that they just looked really well coached in front of their net, in front of our net. They're very fast, for sure. You said that, and the first period was so quick, not just time wise with no whistles, but just it was end to end, really fast paced hockey. This is a team that started off not great, has found their legs of recent weeks, just like Ottawa. So to come in here, and I was saying at the end of probably like the halfway through the second period, right about halfway through the game, the Lightning are really gonna have to bear down to work to get this victory. That's when they kind of tied it up. But if you really look at the stats, this is a really a 50-50 game here. 30 shots apiece, 51-49 in the faceoffs, 26 hits to 29 hits. I mean, the main difference here is 1 for 2 on the power play, which that first power play, again, well coached, I think, in front of the net there. Net front presence was the big part of both of their goals. And 0 for 3 on our power plays, which once again, the faceoff circle continues to be our biggest bugaboo, and it has continued effect on our power play.
Yeah, Brian had a pretty good stat tonight. He always does good stats, but yeah, I didn't realize this one. I kind of felt like this was probably the case, but I don't track this stat too often. Faceoffs wins during the power play. He said we're 28 in the league. And that makes sense. If you go back and watch like highlights of us talking about faceoffs or power plays this whole season, it's like we're talking about how we just can't win that power or that faceoff during
the initial faceoff in the power play. Yes,
and that kills us because the power play is in the other team's zone when you get a power play initially, usually. So you get a really good chance to set up in that zone, which is the Lightning's and every team's power play plan. But the thing that really kills the Lightning right now is Point was always that guy because of his speed, where they used to do the drop. Point would get it and just speed right in. That is really hurting them on the power play since he's been gone, because they can't get set up in the zone. They're not winning faceoffs. And then you take on top of that, you don't have Kuch on that one side as a scoring threat. You're seeing all these teams shift to cover Stamkos, who they're still trying to really force it to. And, this coaching staff knows what to do. They're going to make some adjustments. I'd like to see, if you're going to put Palat on that other side, dude, let him fire it. Let Palat take that shot from that other dot where, it's normally Kuch. It seems like it's almost like they tell him to pass it back to Hedman every time. Or
no, he did a couple times tonight, and Quick had his number. I thought that whole line there kept getting snubbed by Quick. I don't know how many shots Palat ended up with, but he had quite a bit of shots on goal, and they kept saying how he kept looking into the rafters after so many shots because
I bet that was part of the adjustments that they tried to make, was like, hey, let's find another way to score on the power play. And after seeing Hedman kind of fire that goal off in the first period, I want to see him adjust to that spot where he was at, because he sniped that one, heck of a slap shot to score that first goal and tie it up.
It was really interesting because it was really interesting because it was a role reversal right there with Stammer on the feed to the one-timer from Hetty on the other side. And I'm with you. I wouldn't be mad if that becomes Hetty's office on the other side. If you could figure out a way to kind of him and Stamkos kind of rotate up to the point a little bit, depending on how much longer that lasts.
Their demon that far in on
no,
that.
I mean it's Hetty though. It's not as but it's something that has to work, or you just kind of bide your time. You keep racking up wins, you keep racking up points, and as soon as the cavalry arrives, like I was saying earlier on social media, it's all I want for Christmas is my 2 forwards. Because Point and Kuch reportedly back on the ice. Well, not reportedly, but have been back on the ice again today. Both of them together, as reported by multiple sources. So that's something that we can look forward to. So is it something where, hey, we try and work to make this better, or is it just a matter of, hey, we kind of weather the storm, we keep going over 3, over 5, and then eventually we get our 2 studs back, and then all of a sudden we start going 2 for 3 and 3 for 5.
They did get that first goal on a 6-on-5 on the delayed penalty.
The delayed. Well, and I was going to say too, one of the great things about that situation there was that at the end they kind of mixed it up at the end of that period, and they had Sorelli, Palat, and Stamkos out there together, and I thought that was one of the more effective combinations of the night when those 3 got on the ice. We just said Stamkos had a little bit of like a bugaboo or something tonight, but especially on that feed from Sergachev early in the game, and then that kind of BS penalty, we talked about it in our chat. That hooking call on him was kind of garbage, and it really turned the tide in that first period, really, because it was back and forth. The Lightning had a lot of good possession early on, but as soon as that penalty came, it changed momentum, and the next 10 to 12 minutes was all Kings. And it was really interesting to see when those guys came on. They created that opportunity really at the end, and then that penalty was called, and they got they kind of created the momentum, but it was really that Nash line he got slotted in there with the kids. And Nash had a great game tonight. He was on the ice for both of those regulation goals. Their forecheck was instrumental in possession when there was struggling at times with the Kings getting penetration. So both of those, that I was questioning those lineup changes early, but it obviously paid dividends throughout the game with Nash being on the line with the 2 young guys.
Yeah, well, that Sammer line they were changing up. It seemed like throughout the game to get some offense going. For anyone that doesn't remember, we got shut out by the Senators on Saturday.
What? We don't talk about that. We'll talk about the end. We'll talk about that at the end.
And he decided we're not talking about Saturday's game.
We'll talk about it when we need to. It was basically an exhibition game on the road. We might as well. Who cares? I mean, and again, we lost. We gave up 2 points to Ottawa, not Toronto, not Boston, not division opponents. Who cares if it's Ottawa? But this was definitely a really good game. I think evenly matched throughout. Ended the first period at 1, tied at 1. End of the second period, tied at 1. Started the third period on a power play.
LA 6th place in the Pacific Division, though. I thought they'd be a little bit higher. I didn't know where they stood, but
I mean they're 12-10 and 5. So I mean they started really badly. Yeah.
But they're not like in the hunt right now. They're not really in the race, but I guess they got a long way to go. If Quick, and I owe someone on Twitter an apology, talking smack about Quick played really, really good tonight.
He absolutely robbed Pally there at the end.
Did you see Palat in the first period? Palat should have scored.
At the end of the first, at the end of the first, that's what I was saying. He absolutely robbed, and that's whenever they had Stamkos, Sorelli, and Palat on the same time. That's when he actually robbed Palat. And what is that? Palat missed the open netter earlier in the season too. Remember, the empty netter. So it was kind of funny that he's kind of like that's 2 empty nets he's missed this season. If he had a little bit better luck, that guy probably has 3 or 4 more goals this year.
By the way, we're getting reminded in the chat that last I looked, it was 8-2. The Panthers were losing to the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators are actually a really hot team.
Really hot team.
And the next team we play. So
we'll get to that. Again, we'll get to that. Like I said, we'll talk about Ottawa at the appropriate time, which is after we talk about this game. And I guess, like I said, we start off the third period with a power play. And unfortunately, in STACHE'S world, family comes first, and that was about bedtime for the kids. So I had to step out of the room. So I missed the first few minutes of the third period. But when I walked back in, still tied 2-2, and it looked like about the same game. What did you guys see early in that third?
The third period, I mean, there wasn't. It seemed like the rest of the game was kind of back and forth. The one that stood out for me was the Stamkos breakaway that he did not score on. Had a chance to really redeem himself for this game, score that 900th point. And hey, sometimes you just can't.
You guys act like you're acting like he was -3 or something tonight. Like the guy still had a great game.
I think he's in his head. Like he's trying to get that 900th point. You can see the team was trying to get him that 900th point too. It's just another milestone for him. And I think they get inside their heads when they're getting to those milestones. They know what's coming up. They know it's not like the Buccaneers and Evans handing Brady's ball away to somebody. They know.
But oddly enough, he didn't overthink that breakaway. He took a shot.
Yeah.
But there were a couple times he turned over the puck. He missed that goal, or he missed that goal at the beginning. He did have a goal at the beginning of the game that he missed. But I mean, like I said, he was our best player, and at the same time, like our worst player because he was just a little off tonight. But
just barely.
Listen,
Just barely.
even
the whole
Shooter
team
has off nights on We the Thunder.
Listen, the whole team I noticed tonight, there was just a little bit of missed puck luck, and they were just gonna have to bear down to get this win, and they did. And that's the great thing. You see them come out in overtime, and they really controlled that puck early on. The first 2 minutes of overtime, I don't even know if the Kings touched the puck more than just to barely deflect it, and really controlled it. And then all of a sudden, it was a race. It's a race, absolutely, back and forth, chance, and then suddenly Josie comes through with the wicked wrista from the nice angle there, trickles through quick, and game winner. I'm dancing in the office.
Yeah, I thought going back to the beginning of the game, I thought it was an interesting that they sat 48 down and kept Nash in. It shows that the leadership and what they trust in Nash to put him ahead of Fortier, who's been there.
On ice for the Radish goal, which, by the way, Radish all of a sudden red hot in the last week and a half.
5 goals.
Nash is on the ice for both of those regulation goals.
Was he?
Wasn't he plus 2 tonight?
We'll take it. We'll take it.
So, which is funny, because that's. I'm sorry, I was got lost in the chat and everyone talking shit to school. You were mentioning how he was basically known for nothing happening, and now he had 2 goals. Is that what you're saying? Sorry.
Well, he was on the.
He was on the ice for 2 goals scoring. That's what I'm saying. He was on the ice. Yeah.
Yeah.
2.
I mean, he didn't really affect those plays that much, but I thought
not the plays themselves, but the momentum and the forecheck for sure. He led the way, because like I said, I was questioning the change on the lineup for them because I thought Colton was really centering those 2 guys really well. The kid line, you know what I mean? And with Cirelli back, I thought, hey, those guys would be back together. But Nash centered that centered that line really well. And that forecheck was definitely crucial at multiple parts of the game where it felt like LA was just getting ready to take over the momentum.
Yeah.
So Matty Joseph just did an interview and said he actually believes he committed a penalty right before that game winner and was lucky not to be called for it. So it looks like he says Joseph thought he could have been called for a penalty shortly before he went on the rush for the overtime goal. Felt fortunate to beat quick there. So it must have been something that we didn't see that.
Probably a hook.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to get to the net there before the pass came in.
You know how I kind of felt this game? I really felt like the first period, they were trying to do what they always do and pass and get that perfect shot off. And LA, if you look at LA's goals, you had the Doughty screen in the first period.
Yep.
Not very fancy.
Nope.
You had the early in the second period, which, by the way, I want to talk a little bit about why the Bolts give up goals at the beginning and the end of periods so much this season, because it's happening.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is LA scored their second goal with a deflection off Colton's stick and then Arvidsson's back. 2 of their goals were both basically lucky goals. And what you saw from Lightning is first period, I thought they were really trying to set things up.
Hardworking goals. I wouldn't say lucky. Those are hardworking goals, but okay, go ahead.
Lucky goals. When it goes off your guy's back, come on. That's a lucky goal.
Yeah.
Off our stick and your guy's back, it's a lucky goal to take the lead.
You got to make that shot, though. You're not scoring that goal if you don't get guys in front of the net and shoot the puck that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I liked about the Bolts game is look at the Bolts' next goal after that. You had our boy Rutu just throwing it on net with traffic and Radish puck on the stick. And I wish this team would do that more. Just get the puck on net every time they're trying to make this play. And they were trying to do that the second half of this game. And there's a really good example that nobody's going to remember where Killer and
I was just about to bring it up.
We're on a breakaway. It was kind of a broken play because obviously they were not on the same line. It was a line change. It was awkward because they were both on the same side of the ice. Killer takes that thing in and shoots it, and they both really get a great opportunity on the rebound to score a goal. We've got to.
Earlier though, he didn't. Earlier, Killer didn't shoot, and I think he regretted that because I was sitting / standing on him, but like in here watching, and I was like, dude, he needed to shoot that puck right there. He tried to make a play, and then instead of shooting the puck, and he was coming right down Broadway basically, and there was someone there to make it. And you're right, that's a pandemic, if you will. I don't know if it's a taboo word these days amongst the Lightning of not just okay, but we talk about this though too, because they shoot too much or they wait until the other players in the lane and then they shoot and it gets deflected.
I've never heard anyone say the Lightning shoot too much.
No, they shoot and they shoot or pass to the wrong point. Like they wait until the other team is in the position to deflect or block the shot. Hedman did it like at least 3 different times tonight, where he gets the puck and he like waits an extra half second and then boom, they're there. And if he would have just made the play he wanted to do, like he looks because they're trying to make, like you were saying though, they're trying to make the perfect pass. So he's looking at all of his options instead of just letting his instinct guide him to make the correct play. But the other thing I think too is that the Lightning rely on their sticks a little bit too much for me. Like they don't play enough body hockey, and not early on, I think, is what let the Kings get the tone and led to that power play opportunity and the goal. Really is because even on that power play, they were trying to play defense with their sticks a little bit too much, and they weren't putting enough body on the guys. And there was opportunities to turn the puck over. And instead of going and holding them up and disrupting the flow of the possession, they just went in with their sticks, and the puck was still able to be moved around almost in like as you would expect it to be on a power play. So that kind of led to them being able to get it around and screen Vasilevsky. So
to me, they don't play rebound enough. To me, they don't play for the rebound enough.
Yeah,
and guys to clean up a shot.
Yeah, we're all preaching to the choir
because
we're all preaching to the choir.
Our guys shoot hard. You can hear those heady shots, stammer shot, hitting those pads and bouncing off of them, and there is nobody there to clean up those shots. I think that's their biggest mistake. I think that's why what's Elliott gets scored on so much. If you watch Elliott gives rebounds like crazy. They're far rebounds,
and we stopped skating. Anyway, we're not going to talk about the Ottawa game.
What's going on? Okay, listen, hold on. In the chat, I just said, what's going on? Does Chris have multiple accounts, or did he change his profile pic mid-chat?
He probably did.
Just to mess with Shooty. Shooty's trying to ban him, by the way, because they love going back and forth here in the chat. Shooty wants to ban Chris from the chat. Chris says you can't, and he's now changing like a costume, like he's doing a costume swap mid-show. I love this. It's good to meet him a couple weeks ago.
Change your profile picture to Shooter, Chris, if you want to process.
Meanwhile, schoolies going full ASMR over here with this Christmas freaking cakes and unwrapping the packages. Like I don't even know what's going on.
Watch party, we're gonna be giving out those things because apparently schoolies bought everything left.
I hope he got an entire pallet from the back room.
So hey,
Superstore.
One more thing about like the shooting thing is I don't know if you guys watched Radish's interview after the second period. He did say that was really one of their goals of the second period was to get more pucks on net. So like I've heard the guys talk about that before too. Like it's a thing like they constantly, I think, are talking about, but it's just our team. And I don't think it's just our team. I think if you look at other teams, you hear their fans said the same thing. We're trying to get that perfect shot off. When you just look at half the goals in the NHL, they're ugly goals, you know?
Yeah. Although I think it's very funny that you say that because somebody shared on Facebook recently in the last couple of days about Vasilevsky when he first came in the league, talking about how it's different, how it's volume in the NHL versus like in Russia, it was like more like precision. And so like you have that extra almost 2 seconds even on every play just to see what's going to happen. In an NHL, it's a super volume league. And that's the thing. I think this team sometimes is so talented. How do you balance the line of trying to let your talent go and score you goals? And who cares if you only shoot the puck, get 20 pucks on net a game if you're still getting 18 of those 20 shots are quality chances from high danger zones, whether, you know what I'm saying? So if you're getting 35 shots on net and you're still only getting 20 high danger shots, what's the difference really? And it's so how do you balance that, right? Because that's what, I mean, we're going, what, episode 87 now? And I think we probably could talk about this every single episode that we've ever had. So where's that balance? You know, it's hard. And you're right. I think we hear the guys talk about it all the time. Sometimes they'd have to back off of trying to make the skill and the talent and just rely on peppering in the goalie.
Can I want to show this real quick. Let's see if you guys can see it. Because this is definitely going to be the comment of the night, and it was from Coop. So it's this play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
OT, right?
Dude,
So
that was the OT.
Coop's comment was just every man around the world just cringed.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, absolutely, because you could definitely see his scrotum touch the ice there.
Hit the ice.
Like literally. I'm not trying to be perverse on our show because I mean I can. That you can see his scrotum. Boop. There's like a little boop scrotum. And by the way, I loved Ingblom's comment. How long is his left leg? After saves like that, I'm questioning how long his third leg is, right? Because that is all man right there, dude. No matter how wide he can spread them legs, that is a man save right there. And not to mention, he stared Anze down earlier in the game. Anze had him dead to rights coming down the left wing, and he just waited and made Anze go all the way around the net and tried to do a wraparound into traffic, and that puck went flying out into left field.
He's in Kopitar's head ever since.
For sure. And of course, they showed the highlight of the behind-the-back glove save. And
he's in his head ever since then.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, hey, real quick, you know, I was excited. We got off talking about the game real quick, but a couple things. First and foremost, I want to say appreciate everyone tuning in to the Stash Takeover tonight. Want to do a little bit of a poll here in the chat overall, since it's the Stashes night. The question is, in general, does the Stash play? Does in general, for the man, the dude, the male in your life, does the Stash work? Does the Stash a sign still of what it used to be of, you know, gentleman respect, some type of not me clearly, but in general? What do you guys think? Stashes, yes or no on dudes? And we'll just let that go throughout the rest of the show. And
something we also missed at the beginning of the show that
we'll get back to that up. And I'm bringing it back in here.
But I just want to say how perfect that this game was of these two teams with the topic we wanted to start this off with.
And that is basically, really, I buried the lead, and that is Ben Bishop retiring. Mm-hmm. And talking about this amazing saves we saw, and this is a guy that I think has a lot of respect from this fan base. You know how I feel, where I stand on former players and the fan base's love for them in general. But this is a guy that was definitely a foundation building block for what our team is now. And had timing been different, that guy in life been a little bit different, that guy might have been our back-to-back goalie for Stanley Cups. You know what I'm saying?
We really taught Bassey a lot.
So, and absolutely. And if not for him, we probably wouldn't have back-to-back cups. So, you know, we talk a lot about Franjean and the goalie coaching, the way they build up goalies in this franchise and whatnot. But Ben Bishop had a lot to do with what Bassey is as a goalie today. And it's really bad to see a guy like that, that's elite level, elite status, and injuries take him away from being able to really achieve the pinnacle of what I think he probably had the capability of doing.
So, and the ironic thing is that we traded him to the Kings for a player we know, Eric Chernak.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that this news broke why the team was flying home from Ottawa the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm aware that the video replay guy, Nigel, is very good friends with Bish. So after the team landed, there was a couple of us at the airport, and he pulled up to, like he usually does, to talk to us. And I asked him if they had heard that Bish had retired. And he said no, that none of them had gotten word of it yet. And literally he picked up his phone and he's like, I need to call him. He's like, how long ago did the news? I said, he goes, how long did the news break? I said, about 3 hours ago. He said, I just spoke to him not too long ago, and he was hoping to play in the AHL and rehab his knee. He said it must have been worse than they thought. So he said that was one of his best friends, and that it was really a sad thing.
Yeah.
And he's listed fourth all time save percentage. And Vasi is fifth.
Yeah. So
he wasn't here as long. Like, he was like that, like in and out, like, I don't know. He was only here for what, 4 years, if that, I think 4 or 5. And it was that transition area for him. So yeah, what do you guys say?
Well, remember, it was Corey Conacher who like really started the season on fire. And at the time, I don't even know who the Lightning's goalie was, but they made this move after we thought like we had the next St. Louis in
was
the
it
house.
Nabokov?
No, he was here, but it was
Raleigh,
wasn't it?
No,
Yes.
this had to be after that. I don't know who it was. Like,
see, I always think Rolly. Yeah,
2014-ish,
I always think
probably.
Rolly was later than he was.
But it was no one, right? It was no one that was going to be able to.
We don't know.
To carry the team,
right?
And we had this guy Conacher who looked physically like a little St. Louis, and he was on fire. And I remember everyone being so upset that we traded him, and we traded him for Ben Bishop, who nobody really knew who he was.
Yeah.
And he just came in here and played really, really well. And I think like that's what made me, and I think a lot of other people, realize that we needed a solid goaltender. You're never gonna win back-to-back cups or win a Stanley Cup without having a goalie that can really kind of stand on his head. And I think more than anything, that's what the Lightning learned they needed. And it was unfortunate with his time with the Lightning, just untimely injuries. That's just a Lightning theme of this franchise, really. But I'll never forget the one time I didn't even meet Ben Bishop in person, but I saw him in person. If you've seen Ben Bishop in person, and I'm not talking about on ice where everybody looks like a giant. We talk about Stash looking like a giant. I'm in like Ybor City with people in town from work. They don't even know who Ben Bishop is. And I start fangirling out because I look at this guy walking the door, and you scan people as you kind of look at him. I'm scanning this guy, and I'm going like just looking up and up and up and up until I see his face, and I'm like, that's fucking Ben Bishop. I know that guy. I mean, nobody else at the table cared because they were all out of town. But like, if you ever ran into this guy off the ice and just saw like the massive just amount of human he is, and Stash, because you're a giant person. For anyone that hasn't got the warning, Stash is a giant.
I'm a giant.
And you just had surgery, right? So it's like,
I just had knee surgery, ironically. And also, which I wasn't really going to bring this up because I don't know really how to bring it up, but the guy, the doctor, Dr. Thompson, that operated on my knee, was the fellow to, I forget his name now, suddenly off the top of my head, which is a doctor term, by the way, for apprentice, the fellow, to the team doctor for the Lightning in the late 90s and early 2000s. he sewed up Vinny's left eye, Lecavier's left eye, when he was like 18. The first time he ever got like a major cut in the league, it was like his left eye or left or right eye. When it was right eye, whatever. But he was like telling me, he's like, man, he was 18 back there getting sewn up by the doctor. He's like, dude, because he had like a major for the fighting and then like a 2-minute for whatever instigation. So like had a 7-minute penalty. And he's sitting there watching the clock for the penalty. He's like, I got to get back out there, doc. He's like, dude, you're 18. Do you want to get back out there and play? Or do you want to look like somewhat attractive for the rest of your life? Right. So not only did he stitch up Vinny's eye, then he didn't want to necessarily stay with the Lightning. So like he took over for the Storm. So he was a Storm team doctor for 10 years. And he's like operated on some of the biggest athletes in the area. So my left ankle that I had surgically repaired like 12 years ago was done by a very prolific ankle doctor for sports athletes here in the area, and now my knee too. So he was telling me I'm good to go for skating, Shooter. So I might be joining you next fall out there on the ice.
School.
It was Anders Lindbach. Anders Lindbach.
Yes.
Anders Lindbach.
No, because we thought Lindy was gonna be the guy. Actually, he looked like Vasi, but then didn't turn out to be Vasi.
Yeah,
It was him and Matthew Guerin was our
Garon. That's what it was. Garon, not Rolly. Garon. That's who it was.
We weren't going anywhere with those guys. And in 2015, when we made the finals, like Ben Bishop was the big part of that. And I think a big part of us losing the finals was Ben Bishop getting injured in the finals and us having to have like an 18-year-old Vasi all of a sudden thrusted into the Stanley Cup finals, which, you know, at the end of the day here in 2021, maybe that was a blessing in disguise that he got that experience under his belt. But, you know, untimely injuries is going to, unfortunately, probably be the story of Ben Bishop's career as an injury takes him out.
And I was going to say, too, if not for that injury, that kind of led to his whole rest of his career. And it's funny because I was talking with Dr. Thompson. I brought up Ben Bishop, actually, because the news had just broke because I went and saw him yesterday for my follow-up. So the news just broke about the knee. And we were talking about growing injuries in goalies. And that's what Ben Bishop initially had, was groin injury. And then I thought my idea was like, dude, wouldn't that put more strain on your knee if your groin isn't healthy and you're trying to overcompensate and use other parts of your body? You'd end up putting more strain on your knee because your core, like we were talking about, you can't really see me, but the goalie, like 95% of the goalie's game is between like the quad and like the breastbone, like that middle part of the body. That's where the goalie's game comes from. It's truly the core. And the groin is part of that for them. You saw Vasi's groin on full display tonight, right? So I was curious, you know, did that kind of overcompensate and shorten his career? And you know, doctors can never really give you a straight answer, but he felt like that was not a bad idea that I was having on that. So I think if Bishop stays healthy, I think the Lightning win 2 cups maybe in that time frame, maybe even 3. Then maybe there's like a year or 2 in between the transition from him to Vasi, and we're talking about one of the greatest dynasties truly of all time. Really.
I was trying to find the video because luckily I had a lot of interaction with Bishop back then. And honestly, at times he was an arrogant ass.
That was definitely a commentary about him around town.
I had a video that I was trying to find, but I couldn't find it. When Stammer got his brand new contract, he got the Ferrari, and Bishop and Boyle both got into the car and drove it around the parking lot, the back parking lot, and seeing Bish get into that car, everybody was laughing. Even Stammer was laughing at it. But it was funny because he was either on or he was off with the fans. There was times when he was nice as can be. He would give autographs, and then the next time he would screw up your whole picture on purpose, just because he could. He would write his name over other players' names just to screw it up. Or he would be really nice. He was totally arrogant at points that time, and then and then that's when Vasi started coming in. It was Vasi's rookie year. And Vasi was starting to become a fan favorite because he was coming in there and shutting it down. And we legitimately had a 1-2. And that was when Vasi started getting better, and nobody knew who was starting that night. I remember every night, every day, we were waiting for the practice lines to find out who the starting goalie was. Was it going to be Vasi in net? Was it going to be Bish in net? And then he started getting the injury bug. He had the injury bug when he went to the Kings. And then in Dallas, his whole career has been off and on. And then now they just put Khudobin on waivers. So they're having goalie nightmares down there in Dallas. 2 years.
They have
2 years removed from a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
They have Holtby, right?
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah, they'll be okay.
Speaking of Vasi, can I bring this up for a second about Vasi? Remember how we were talking about the Vasi roar?
The tunnel.
It's the same. Tunnel? It's the same one. It's the same one they use in Florida, isn't it?
No, listen to what he does in the tunnel before the game. Is that what you're playing, Shooter?
Yeah. So our girl Kaylee Mizell, we call her Shelly, or no, we call her Zelly on the show.
What?
She will be back.
We have no good hosts on this show.
This is her tweet, by the way. I'm zoomed into the video here, but listen, I put the sound on. Listen to the Vasi yell, and I think we might be able to replace that growl with the Vasi yell. Let's see if you guys can hear it. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
That was it. Hold on. Ah!
That's solid. Listen for what a 2 second. A 2 second roar. Good.
You see Stammer going, what the hell?
You guys have both been to sporting events with me. You know the stash roar, right? You know when I can.
This is our barn. Don't walk in the seats when the play.
No, I'm talking about the metal roar. Scream, if you will, that I do.
But listen,
multiple beers and drinks I've gotten. So like I'm saying, I'm qualified to rate this Vasi scream, if you will. I'm giving that a solid 8.
It's good. It's good. I would replace the growl at Amelie with that any day of the week. But Kimberly here is known at Amelie as the Whisperer. And I feel like we should get you two together in the same section for a game and have some sort of like video. I mean, I've got a phone in my pocket. Usually we can do some sort of video documentation.
She does sit right in front of me. So if Stash came to a game with me one game, she does sit right there in front of me.
It's weird.
Listen.
No, this got weird.
I think we need to have a scream off. All right, that's your show.
It's impossible. It's impossible for anyone to beat me in a scream off, and that's a great segue because let's talk about what we're all here to talk about tonight. Really, not hockey. It's the takeover. We're talking about mustaches, right? It's the stash edition. We're going to talk about stashes, right? If I'm going to take it over and get full reins, we're going to talk about what a real mustache is about. What the names of mustaches. We're going to go in deep dive, and we're going to talk about some of the greatest mustaches in history and pop culture. And we're going to see just what everyone thinks about some of these great mustaches that we've had the greatest experience to have in our lives. So first and foremost, I think the most important thing we can do is go with the guide of what a mustache is. Right? Boom. Here we go. Where are we going full screen? How do I do this? Boom. Right. Yep. So first of all, did you even know there are this many different mustaches and that they're actually named? First of all, that's what's incredible to me because it's just, to me, always just been the stash, right? You just got to rock a stash.
What I find interesting is only one is actually named after a person there. Dolly.
The Dolly. Well, right, because he basically did the upside down Fu Manchu,
Yeah.
right? And not quite the full handlebar, which is technically the mustache I'm generally most known for. Is I really generally rock a pretty solid handlebar mustache. But these days, I'm becoming a little bit more fan of like a walrus kind of we'll get to that. But the older I get, the more dad vibe I start rocking. The walrus is starting to become more and more prevalent. I find it very interesting that we have the Fu Manchu right here in the top right corner, just above the Imperial, which is completely obviously misnamed. What do you guys think? Because this seems to be the Fu Manchu above the Wu Tang Chu, right? That is clearly the Wu Tang symbol as a mustache.
That's the first thing I thought of when I thought the Imperial that's the Wu Tang stash.
That's Wu Tang. That's Wu Tang. So you got the horseshoe and the Fu Manchu. So that's the other thing too. Like, how is that different? So now and that's how I realized that the cop stash technically is the horseshoe, not the Fu Manchu. Because the Fu Manchu is like the classic kung fu mustache, right? The really long one that hangs down.
The Fu Manchu has to hang over over the chin, huh?
Yes, so it must be a long, like almost like your head, the hair from your head just hanging down in a beautiful waterfall from each corner of your lip, of your mouth. Perfect. The chevron in the top left, that's a classic cop stash. Yes, that's what we see right there. The classic cop stash, the chevron. Yeah. I didn't realize that you had different types of handlebars. We got the traditional handlebar, the petite handlebar. Very interesting to me, the petite handlebar.
I thought you were going to say that you're starting to retire the handlebar and maybe scale back to the petite handlebar.
Well,
which I don't consider anything on you petite. So.
Exactly. I don't think that. I don't think I could. I don't think I could.
Whoa!
That I know of.
A whole different show now.
That's when we got canceled.
You can't get canceled for me tooing each other.
I also think it's interesting they went with the toothbrush here, which would actually be the second mustache name for a human being. Am I wrong? Right? Toothbrush? Clearly.
Yeah. Clearly generally, you want to stay away from the toothbrush.
No toothbrushes are Cartman. Yes. And then also pencil mustaches. That's not a thing. Those are drawn on. That's like Gomez Adams and the Adams family.
I don't know. It's kind of like Matthew Joseph. He kind of has that little.
You got this. Well, he's got like the angled one, right? Like it's like the private first class chevron, right? It's like the rookie cop mustache almost, right? You got that pencil mustache like that. That's like the junior chevron, right? So, so here's the thing. All right. So I really kind of wanted to go from here and do a little rundown of some of the great pop culture iconic mustaches in my book, and feel free in the chat to chime in who you think's got some of the greatest mustaches. I intentionally actually left a couple out
because are you pop culture? Because are you like counting Hitler? Because he's not pop culture.
Well, that's iconic. Well, first of all, I was just sharing the grid, right? What they are, and that was called I was just saying they call it the toothbrush, but clearly it's not. But well, I was going to share some images here of some men sporting the mustaches throughout history that I kind of admire, or not even admire, just like they're somewhat famous that are trendy or iconic, if you will. And feel free again to chime in the chat, or for you guys to let me know. We'll go ahead and do a quick image search. We'll share them as well, and we'll kind of rate the stash and the flow and see who you guys believe is the best. And for me,
I see the picture the one that just went out.
Oh yeah, no, it's there. But for me, just going back to where I feel comfortable these days.
Wait, did you make a PowerPoint presentation?
I've got a few images, ready to go. But this to me right here, boom. That to me, as a 41-year-old man, is the pinnacle of mustaches right there. And that's what I'm trying to say right there. That is clearly
hold on, go back to that. I gotta grab a screenshot. out of that.
I love the lightning on the forehead. I was not ready for your graphics added
Hold
to.
on right there for a second. Yeah, we got to highlight that one. All right,
That's fantastic.
Please move on.
So to me, that's my mustachioed inspiration these days as a father, an aspiring carpenter, woodworker, and a hobbyist of just being manly.
That one right there is a legend.
This right here, I think, if you really ask anybody, the greatest mustache of all time, boom,
And a legend
Mr.
himself.
Sam Elliott, the legend himself. And I had to use this image because it's from the Lebowski, and that's my favorite role of his. But there's many
Roadhouse.
Yeah, there's a few iterations of this guy's mustache, but overall, this guy's got one of the greatest of all time. That's Mr. Sam Elliott himself.
Hold on. Are you going to highlight who Sarah has in the chat here? The owner, the prestigious owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's do it.
Sahad Khan. He does
wrestling.
Nifty stash.
And AEW wrestling.
Yes.
Listen, Serena's got it here. Burt Reynolds, listen, I got it queued up. That's the stash right there. That's the only one you might ever need to see.
That's basically what I'm rocking right now, to be honest with you. That's pretty much the mustache I'm really rocking. I can't go the full walrus like Ron Swanson. I don't get the full walrus. I'm kind of like right in between the Burt Reynolds and the Ron Swanson, if you will.
The originals, Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, well, there it is. Shad Khan. That's a great stash right there. That is a classic stash. That's well groomed, but at the same time, like, I just let it be what it is. And a lot of times, as a mustachioed man, that's what you got to do. You just got to let the stash be the stash. You know, you got to let the stash be the driver sometimes, right?
On your PowerPoint, didn't I see a certain little pot smoker? Oh, there's a Tampa native.
Oh, well, we'll get to him. But what's one of the most iconic? But let's get back to a great inspiration of mine. And this is a very classic look right here, Mr. Cheech.
Now, does that qualify as a walrus?
Here's the question, though. There's a clear break in the lip, right? There's a clear break in the middle of it. So it's, I don't know, man. It's like a hybrid of a walrus and like a pencil.
That's called the pothead.
That's called the cholo. That's called the cholo. I mean, that's what I grew up calling that. So, but I mean, that's iconic. That's iconic in and of itself. And
Adrian
young,
for the
young guy.
now.
Oh,
Austin
there we go.
Matthews.
Awesome,
Adrian. We're gonna give Adrian some spelling lessons because I don't know if you could butcher anyone's name. And listen, he's called out on this show my typing skills. So
right.
He's probably driving back from Orlando right now. Him and Serena, they live in Orlando. So
we'll give you a pass there. Kevin wants to go with my pillow.
My pillow guy.
Okay, well then here we go. And that's funny because basically, oh man, it's basically the Vincent Price.
Yeah.
And which is a great segue because that's like a pencil mustache, but it's got the breaking lip, so it's almost like the mini, it's like the Austin Matthews kind of even right there. But that's what more well grown in than Austin Matthews. That's Austin Matthews still his still looks penciled in.
Can I jump in here? Can I jump in here?
Bring one in. Bring one in.
Hey now.
Oh,
I know he's on the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. Let's not forget that. But Brian Boyle was always rocking. He usually had a little hair on the chin too, but he was usually rocking a stash on top of that. So
yeah,
let's give him a little.
Which brings in the question though. As I do, I usually let the soul patch keep going no matter what. Like I always let the lower lip go. So, what is that technically a mustache, or does that go into the mustache and goatee realm? Which
it's not.
That was a whole other diagram that I chose not to bring to the show tonight because we could have got even further into mustache lore, facial hair lore, if you will. And I don't know if everyone is ready for that. So
I was going to say it's not on the list. It's not on the chart. So where does it rank? Let me give you one more. And this is I always think about this one too. This is old Dennis Eckersley,
Eckersley.
right? Or is that Dennis or is that Raleigh Fingers? I don't know.
No, that is Raleigh Fingers.
Both of them though.
That was Raleigh Fingers. Absolutely.
Hard.
Yes.
Hard.
Absolutely. Well, Dennis Eckersley had more of like the almost like a Sam Elliott kind of like full furry caterpillar thing going on. Raleigh Fingers was the guy that always had the true stash or the handlebars.
I like how the Lightning just touches. It just kisses
the
top of the stash here.
Just the touch of the tip
on that close up.
You know what's also very creepy is the amount of super close up mustache pics on the internet. Like that picture that you just showed, there must be hundreds of thousands of just straight up close up pictures of men's mustaches, just their lips, and they're like, that's it. Like from mid nose to mid chin, like it's insane.
Pull up that
dive that I wasn't expecting to fall into. Like it's a well I was not expecting to be so deep, to be honest. But let's talk about this right now. If we're talking about Tampa Bay, we're talking about mustaches. We're talking about
tell me what you got, brother.
Something that's immortal, brother. We're talking about the true greatest of all time, the Hulkster himself, brother. That's one hell of a mustache.
This is not a Fu Manchu.
No, again, this is not. We already established this is not the Fu Manchu. Again, this is the horseshoe. This is the horseshoe, not the handlebar.
Question for you guys. We have not really seen many mustaches in Tampa Bay Lightning history.
That's right.
I really don't recall any, and I just did a little search. We get a lot of beards. We get a lot of goatees. Killer's got a classic one. But it seems like the mustache has always been kind of missing in the Tampa Bay Lightning repertoire of facial hair. And if you go around the league, I don't know if you guys are like me. I'm obsessed with hockey. I'm going to watch a hockey game when
we got Cooch. Cooch has the beard, the mustache. You had Luke Witowski. He had that. Bogo has it.
Yeah.
It's usually your defensive guys. I think Coburn had it at times.
It would, but it's usually not just the stash. It would be really tough to put a pin on who has the best mustache in Tampa Bay Lightning history. That's a tough one.
And which is crazy because I can go right away, and maybe it's because I just hate them, and I watched them punch some dude in the face losing. But Sam Bennett for Florida has a great hockey stash. Like a lot of guys give him a hard time for it. I don't like the guy, but I'm defending his fucking lip game all the time. That guy, but see, and Serena says Yanni, but even Yanni had not just not even just a soul patch. Like he always had like he's still like I'm 20 trying to grow a beard a little bit. Like he never shaved his cheeks or anything, Like I'm rocking the 5 o'clock shadow right now because I don't like using a straight razor. I just use my clippers, if you will, to shave. But like I'm technically only stash. So
now that we've talked about this, because
way too long.
This wouldn't be the first time that something's translated from this show to the Lightning.
That's true.
Let's watch. Wait a minute. Killer in the playoffs in 2020.
That's true.
Went out there with the stash and the soul patch. Wait, let's.
That's why we started calling Sofrito Mini Killer. That's why our longtime listener, friend Steven Sofrito, we started calling him Mini Killer, and that's why I call that the Spaniard, because you got the nice little well manicured thin mustache, and then because he had the mustache before he let the beard go.
In the beginning of the playoffs, it was just
the little turn.
But I think this is later on. It looks like a practice. This is 2015 though. Oh, I don't know. But he did pull it off. Anyway, are we just going to talk about mustaches the rest of the show?
No. Apparently, the call that should have been called against Joseph was tripping, because here's the Kings tripped up in Tampa.
Oh, what a petty, like 20-year-old girl.
Oh, good job. Good
job.
That's witty. I like it. Good for
and
them.
then I see the comment saying, "I see what you did there," and then hate the missed call that let them get the point versus Tampa.
Should have been 2-1 without
should we
the
go
BS
back
looking
and look
call.
at missed calls throughout the entire game? Because
Well,
we can do that. I
The
guess.
first call, which was BS. We were talking about no call or a call that shouldn't have been made that did get made. What's the difference, you know? But no, listen, that's the end of my stash love for tonight. I think we had to. Except for one thing. There's one thing that we're definitely missing, and I'm a little bit disappointed in everybody missing this guy right here. Just give me 1 second. I thought someone else was going to bring him up.
Sorry. Oh no! Don't get Serena and Lux more. He's a Tampa native, Tampa resident. So we can
Boom. That's the man right there. If you ask me, Mr. Tom Selleck, Magnum PI himself. That's guy. I mean, that's definitely not the best picture that I could have got of him with his mustache. That's the modern man mustache. That's not the Magnum PI mustache. But if there's a guy in American pop culture that's wearing a mustache for longer and been more iconic about it, I don't know.
I think Burt Reynolds. I think Burt Reynolds is.
Yeah, I was already talking about Burt Reynolds. Rest in peace.
That's fair. Then it's 1A and 1B then for me, because those guys tie for some of the greatest mustaches of all time. And speaking of time, that's my time about mustaches. Let's go to the look ahead. What do you guys think about that?
Ottawa.
We got the hottest team in the NHL coming to town on Thursday.
One of. We just felt
they might be the hottest. I'll let you know. I'm gonna look at the standings here and see who's on the biggest win streak right now. You got Pittsburgh's won 5 straight. That's a real pain in the ass. You got Nashville. Nashville, by the way, I know a lot of us are going to the Stadium Series, playing really good hockey.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 hottest teams right now. Where's our team here in Ottawa? Oh, they won 2 straight. Never mind. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I should probably be here for the show. 5-5 in the last 10.
Yeah. Yeah, what it is. You're listening to all the hype because everyone's talking about them. Oh, they're suddenly doing well. I mean, they're doing okay.
They're a negative 20 in goal differential.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is they caught Tampa at the last game of a really long road trip when they, I think, was, like I said, hardly even worth mentioning. Basically, an exhibition game, if you will, with everyone that was out, and the fact that it was Ottawa at the end of a long road trip. We didn't lose points to the people we didn't need to, and it doesn't really matter if we lose points to Ottawa now. So then they go in, and Florida. I watched that game. I was sitting here on both my screens watching the Florida game as I was watching the Lightning game, and they definitely took Ottawa for granted. And there were some big miscues by Spencer Knight in the net and the way he handled the puck and his communication with their defense. And I don't think you're going to see that from the Lightning. And I think the good thing about this game with the Las Vegas Knights, just kidding, the LA Kings, is that it's going to help the Lightning get a little bit ready. I don't think they're going to be as back on their heels as maybe they might have been for Ottawa, even after that game the other night.
They have won 5 of their last 6, losing the only game against the Islanders.
Yeah.
So they beat Carolina 3-2, and Carolina was looking good this year. They beat Colorado, which is our next opponent after Ottawa. They beat Colorado 6-5. They beat the Devils 3-2, who beat us. And then they lost to the Islanders 3-5, beat us 4-0. And then tonight 8-2. We do have to let everybody know early show next Tuesday.
Yes, we'll get to that because we play Ottawa and then we play Colorado in Colorado for a random trip out west for the weekend trip, which there's worse places to spend a weekend, I guess, than Colorado.
Little road trip for the Bolts here. Looks like Kevin in the chat's going to be there Saturday in Denver. So thank you for
he lives out there in Colorado.
Yep. I remember he won a shirt. We sent him a shirt out there. So Yeah. Wrap it up, Kevin, in Balls Arena, if I'm not confused. It is Balls Arena now. In,
Balls.
Maybe it's just
Balls to the wall
but
arena.
Ball Arena. I don't
Balls
know. It used
out.
to be like Pepsi Center or something like that.
It
But
used to be called the
Let's see
Pepsi.
the Pepsi Center.
now it's Balls.
Yeah. Balls. All jars.
Anyway.
If you need to store something, ball jars. Yeah. Ball jars. You need ball jars if you need to store anything.
I really wish we would do
Airtight.
Vegas before Colorado. Every time they get high in Colorado and lose in Vegas. They do.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, all the players do.
That would never happen
This
with
is
our
a good
Bulls.
place to spend a weekend. Good place to spend a weekend. Yeah, but so as Schoolie was mentioning, one of the rare times we have a late game on a Tuesday. It's a 10 o'clock game. So we're gonna do the funness 2 weeks in a row. Shooter Stash Takeover this week. Next week is gonna be a pregame show. We're gonna come on live at our regular 8 o'clock ish time and do a pregame show before that Vegas game a week from tonight.
And just looking at the schedule, we do Tuesday nights. We play every single Tuesday night until the last week
Until the break.
of January. So we will be post gaming it for the foreseeable future. But yeah, we'll switch it up next week. We'll do a pregame show from 9 to 10. Maybe what I'll do is I'll set up the watch party on Zoom or something like that, and see if we can all kind of hang out together during the game. But I'm looking forward to the West Coast swing. I'm a late night person, so I always watch those games no matter what. In fact, I'm probably going to go turn on whatever West Coast game started already in the West Coast right now. So,
and you know, speaking of which, real quick, by the way, just real quick at the end of the show, quick soapbox. It's Stash's takeover. Why are people so upset with ESPN Plus? I don't get it. It is
I've
cheap.
Been able to watch way more.
I've watched
hockey
every game. Any game I want to. Any game.
Yeah.
So can I watch Lightning games live? No. Can I watch it the next game? Yes. The next day I can watch it. Archive. I can watch any other game live. I can watch any game archive. I can go back the entire season, right? Like I don't understand people and their disdain for ESPN Plus and ESPN taking over the distribution rights for the NHL.
So
sure. Has the transition from FS Fox Sports to Bally been seamless? No. Bally's got some things, but it's basically still the same broadcast. That's the other thing. It's still essentially the same broadcast.
Well,
I don't know
right
what people
now
are bitching about.
Right now, and this is like if you're just a Lightning fan and want to watch Lightning games, all right, ESPN Plus is not going to help you, except we do have 2 or 3 more games that are exclusively on ESPN Plus. But right now on ESPN, you can be watching ESPN Plus. Sorry, you can be watching the Kraken versus the Sharks, the Leafs versus the Oilers, the Jackets versus the Canucks. And by the way, this is if you want to watch the Leafs broadcast or the Oilers broadcast, you get to choose which one. Blues or Stars is on right now, and Jackets, Canucks. I don't know if I mentioned that one. Rangers, Avalanche is probably wrapping up right now. All of those games you can watch with an ESPN Plus subscription. And by the way, you can bundle that with Hulu and ESPN Plus and Disney Plus for like $12 a month. So it's like
it's like less than $15 a month, man. Less than $15 a month, and you can get the bundle. And to me, I don't understand. I've seen people crapping on the internet. I don't understand it. I'm a huge fan. Yes.
While I'm editing this podcast, which by the way, we don't really edit the podcast. We go put like the pre and post game stuff on there. But look, all of these games I can go click on and watch. Like, how are you complaining about this? You never had this option.
I would have had to pay hundreds of dollars on center ice before this season. I would have had to pay hundreds of dollars to get center ice. And I would have only been able to watch it on my cable device or the one on, and it like, I'm literally, because I have because I have 3 screens and my PC and my Xbox, I can watch 3 hockey games at a time right now through ESPN Plus. It's like I'm in a bar at my own house right now. And it cost me $6 between the 3 of them. So $6 or less than that. What is it? I don't know. I'm not good at math right now. 3 beers deep plus.
Sarah
So,
says if
Four.
you're on Verizon, $7 a month for all 3.
wow.
Come on. If you are looking, so just to be clear, you cannot in Tampa Bay watch the Lightning on ESPN Plus because the contract is owned by Bally Sports in Tampa. You have to be able to watch through a provider that supplies Bally Sports. If you need a workaround for that, you can DM Shooter in the Stash or Rob Rashute, and I will tell you how to get around that. But you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So like any good thing in life,
you're still gonna have to pay for it. You're gonna either have to pay for Spectrum or Ballot or whatever it is, or the VPN.
No. I got a cheap way that you can pay and get a better stream than you'll get through Bally's. And I don't even want to say that because I love Bally's and the guests that we have on from Bally Sports. So you should have a subscription to Bally Sports.
You should definitely, yeah. So.
Spectrum, baby, Spectrum.
Hey, listen. Some people choose neighborhoods based on school districts. I chose my neighborhood based on my Spectrum being bundled into my HOA, and I knew that I would never have to worry about missing Lightning hockey. It's just always there, no matter what. So
free cable, free internet.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. you live your life one way or you live it the other. I don't know. It's up to you. But I know which way I live, and I haven't missed a Lightning hockey game this season. So that being said, gentlemen, what a great game, right? A great game against a great team from the West Coast. A great bounce back after that basically exhibition game last Saturday in Ottawa. And looking forward to a regular Thursday night game here in our barn against that same Ottawa team on Thursday.
All right. Nice job. Can I tell you where you messed up?
Every single second of the last 1 hour and 11 minutes.
You did not. There were a couple things that I wanted to make sure we brought up. One was just me and my detective-like research of looking up the Jack Adams Award, which is the best coach in the NHL, and realizing that our coach, John Cooper, has never won that, and how much of a criminal offense that is. And if he does not win it this year, I will riot. I don't know what I'll do, but Cooper's never won.
Rittenhouse. We're going Rittenhouse
in the NHL.
For any of those people, real quick, for any of those people that went to the STM Stanley Cup event, they ended up having every single never on bullshit. They ended up having every single trophy that the Lightning ever had, any Lightning player. And it was really cool because what they did is they put the TVs behind them with a video clip of whatever player or coach or whatever had won it, and then their name and stuff. So it was really cool to see the different trophies and to see. And that was the first time I realized the Jack Adams was during that the other day.
Yeah. Well, I'm disappointed because my knee surgery got postponed. It was supposed to be on Tuesday, but it ended up being on Thursday. If it was Tuesday, I would have been there on Sunday. Even the third favorite host on the show can beg and plead to get invites to go see the Stanley Cup. And I would have been there, but my knee wasn't quite fully healed in time for me to get there yesterday. Or
that's
Sunday,
all the hardware that the Lightning have ever won, or any of the players that coaches.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's actually stolen from my rep. He had posted all of them,
and all that was before the 1,000th win that we talked about the other night too. Think about that.
Yeah, so it was just really cool to go down a memory lane and seeing different names. The Conn Smythe, seeing Brad Richards' name up there. Ted Lindsay Award. It was, who was it? St. Louis, and I forget who else, but literally Phil Esposito's name was the first one ever on it.
That's awesome.
So that was really cool to see.
Serena says someone would have pushed me in a wheelchair, and I appreciate that. But honestly, I live an hour away almost from the arena, and it wasn't the being mobile. I was mobile enough. It was sitting in the truck or driving that far and having my knee bent that long. That was the main thing. I couldn't make the drive.
Kind of like what they had.
So, oh yeah, I saw a picture. Trust me, we saw all the pictures. So if you're we all saw them.
The nicest trophy.
It was like the first day of school. It was right. It was like the first day of school and all the Lightning fan groups, except it was fucking. I get to see the fucking trophy day.
I think the best one to see besides the Stanley Cup for me was the Rocket Richard.
Yeah, no sure.
That one was a really nice trophy to see. And it's just like, wow, these and then of course me and the keeper of the cup, Phil Pritchard, was really cool.
Yeah, and I want to thank everyone that invited me to and to give me their seat to go check that out.
Yeah,
Which
don't
was
kill
a
a
lot.
scooter.
And I just wasn't able to get out there this weekend. But back on my Cooper issues, Cooper did also become the fastest NHL coach to win 400 games. Again, just going to show that it's ridiculous that he's never won this award, and I hope he wins it this year.
Well,
we didn't really talk about Cirelli returning.
Yeah.
He missed 2 out of 3 games this week. He did return tonight. Looked good. Had a really great chance to be in the game. And I did want to talk a little bit about this rumor that the KHL
you're going to Russia.
The Lightning and the Caps, not a surprise with the Russian players on these 2 teams to play. The rumor is against KHL teams in Russia. So I did put a poll up on Twitter here, our Twitter at We the Thunder Pod over on the Twitter. And you don't have much time left. It goes to the end of the day today. But would you go to Russia? Would you travel to Russian? There you go. Whoever I was like talking shit about typing. There you go. to see the Bolts play the Caps or a KHL team, which is kind of the plan. And I just thought it was interesting because, it's Russia. It's a heck of a trip to take. 43% yes, 56.8 no right now. I think it would be a heck of a trip to go see all of our Russian stars go play in Russia. But
with the Thunder
I don't like the
live.
idea of them playing against KHL teams. Like maybe a regular season or exhibition against Washington, but against KHL teams, I don't know if that's going to fly with the NHL.
I just saw Nestorov just signed a new contract over there, and it brings back memories of some old Lightning players. If you think just the Russians that have been on this team,
we've had a pipeline over the last 7 or 8 years for sure. 10 years.
Stanley Cup, all of our Stanley Cup goalies have been Russians. Yep. We've had Nemesnikov, Nestorov, even
so many offs, a lot of offs. And skis.
Yeah.
A lot of offs and skis on this team.
Washington, they get their best cocaine from over there. Ups. So yeah, that would be something I'd be really wanting to go see.
My grandfather, my grandfather and my uncle and like my dad's side of the family traveled to Russia fairly prolifically in my youth. And I've always wanted to go. So I would absolutely be down for a We the Thunder live from Russia.
Oh, man. That'll be the day. All right. I'm in. I'd totally go to Russia. I know some good Russians.
Do you think they would allow us to have internet over there?
Hey, we'll figure it out. We'll go fucking pirate. We might not ever make it back, but it'd be worth it, baby.
Listen, I do know some Russians. There is a like Russian version of Facebook there. It's like straight up Russian Facebook.
I know some Russians too. They're called Kucherov, Vasi, and
they call it Rusbook.
Right.
The Rusbook.
I'm in. Let's go. All right.
Oh yes, and yeah, Serena's right. Sweden was awesome. Can you imagine all the vodka, all the potato juice?
They would start calling Stash the machine. Google it.
They would call me the masher. No, just kidding.
All right, can we go now? I'm through with today's game. Big win, overtime win.
Great game. Yeah, Tuesday nights in the books, baby. You guys got nothing left? Then I want to say thanks for humoring me, everybody. Thanks for listening along. Another great night. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.